They don't want you to see this side of Trump. I repeat, they do not want you to see this side of this man. He's in the store casually just paying for mother's groceries. You know? But I want y'all to hear what he says at the end. Check this out.
Take the rest of it. Here, it's going to go down a little bit. It just went down $100.
Thank you so much.
We'll do that for you from the White House, all right?
Thank you.
All right, bye. Nice seeing you, everybody. Beautiful. Beautiful. They're your kids?
Yeah, they are. 3 boys.
Perfecto. Perfecto. 3 for 3. Bye, everybody.
That's the president right there, you guys. Man of the people. Yes, indeed. They don't want you to see that right there.
It's no wonder that Kamala Harris was just officially endorsed by IRS agents. Do you believe it? That's when you'd say, I'd rather not have that endorsement. But it's oh, look, I got to get some. Look at that stuff. I want just have it. We got to get it.
My mom just got a bag of that, actually.
Is it good stuff? Good?
She says it's the best.
Is that the best?
She says it's the best.
If it is, I'll be in Washington, D.C., hopefully in the Oval Office. I'll send for popcorn. Okay?
What a guy, man.
I'm sure that when you get elected, that my line would be, help us make American agriculture great again.
Well,
Thank you, Mr. President.
We'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. It's not very difficult to do. We're just being ripped off by other countries, and not only China, by the way, but we're being ripped off at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And this administration has allowed it to happen because you were making probably the best you've ever done 4 years ago, 5 years ago. You were doing better. All farmers they were doing better than they ever did. And now they're doing very better. I mean, I hear more complaints from farmers than almost anybody, and that's the backbone of this country. So they'll be very happy for a long time to come, okay?
Can I add one more thing and say to you that we've seen the decline of the mom and pop stores. And what you're hearing is that we're seeing the decline of the American family farm. That's America. So, I mean, anybody that's not paying attention to what's going on needs to wake up and get out and vote. And we know who they got to vote for. You, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. I love your hat, too, by the way. I noticed it right away. Thank you very much. We'll take care of them. Your grandchildren will be farmers. And they'll be maybe doing better than you do, okay? Thank you very much. But without your job, which is a good job, an energy job, but if you don't put Trump in, you're not going to have any energy jobs in here. They're not going to let you frack. They're not going to let you frack. You know that. She's never said frack in her life until just a short while ago when she realized her poll numbers were dying in Pennsylvania. They're not going to let you or anybody else frack. And so I just want you to be aware of that when you go and cast your vote. I'm not too worried about the people around this table, I must be honest. But you never know. But everybody's aware of it. And I think Pennsylvania's aware of it based on polling that we're getting. You can't let them do it because I didn't realize you were so dependent. Even a farmer would have to be dependent on the energy. But you take that energy out, you take that income out, it's a whole different story for Pennsylvania.
Completely.
And we're not going to let that happen. We got to win the election. Thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. So without you.
What about our capital gains tax? Are we going to keep that down?
Well, that's the worst. I mean, they have unrealized capital gain. How about that?
Yeah, how about that?
Unrealized. So they want to give you a capital gain if the value of your land goes up. Nobody's ever heard of it before. It's a communist thing, you know. It's a communist thing. It's unrealized capital gain. You'll have every business person, every company leaving this country. It's called an unrealized capital gain. And it's a concept that's been talked about for years. I don't know if any country has even done it, but she wants to do it here. And, come to think of it, now that I'm with farmers, it'll affect farmers probably worse than anybody.
We have all the minerals under us, which we own, and they're going to put a value on those. And even though we haven't taken
You know who's going to make a lot of money? Appraisers, lawyers, and accountants.
Well, I have two accountants. Two of my sons are accountants. So
they'll be very happy.
What about our capital gains tax?
And if they get in, your energy costs are going through the roof. Okay, they're going to go through the roof. You won't have a farm very long. I will tell you that. I just noticed behind me John Deere tractors. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company, but as you know, they've announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that, we're putting a 200% tariff on everything that you want to sell into the United States, so that if I win, John Deere is going to be paying a 200%. They haven't started it yet. Maybe they haven't even made the final decision yet, but I think they have. John Deere is going to, and anybody else that does this, because it's hurting our farmers, it's hurting our manufacturing. And if you do that, you're going to have a 200% tariff put on the product that you make in Mexico, right across the border. They think they're going to make product cheaper in Mexico and then sell it in for the same prices they did before, make a lot of money by getting rid of our labor and our jobs, and really a great name, because John Deere is a great name. I buy a lot of John Deere, tremendous. I'm one of their big customers. I buy a lot of John Deere product as a private person. But if they're going to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on everything that they want to send back into the United States, which means one of two things. Our country's going to make a lot of money, or they're not going to build, they're not going to open, and or they're going to sell it to another country. They're entitled to do that. If they want to build in the country, in the United States, there's no tariff. You can go ahead and you can build in any one of the 50, go ahead. But if they don't want to do that, we're going to put a 200% tariff on John Deere. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to announce very shortly, if they think I'm going to win, or if I do win, they're going to announce that they're not going to build in Mexico. Mexico's taken a tremendous amount of our business, especially over the last few years with this group, because this group doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. Mexico. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you. And a special group of people, the farmers. Nobody's done for farmers what I've done. Unfortunately, they haven't followed through. We made a deal with China. It was one of my best deals that I made. I made a lot of good deals, but we made the USMCA, Mexico, Canada, which was terrific. But we had a specific deal with China where they were going to buy $50 billion worth of farm product. And it's interesting how we got there, because when the negotiation was going on, and it was a nasty negotiation, and I said to the farmers, just stick with me, because we're going to do it. They're great negotiators. They're not going to go that fast. Just stick with me, because you never had anybody negotiating for the farmers before me as president. And my people, I said, what are the numbers we're talking about? And they said 15 million, 15, not 50. I said, all right. So it's $15 billion worth of product that they were going to buy, because they've been taking advantage of the farmers for years. This was like a penalty to China. And I thought they said 50, not 15. So the negotiations, I said, how are you doing with the 50 billion? No, sir, we're close to 15. I said, what do you mean 15? You said 50. I said, no, I want 50. They said, that's not what we said. We said 15. I said, that's okay. Ask for 50. Tell them we have to have 50 billion, not 15. And I got it. The problem is, big problem, that now they don't enforce it. I enforced it. Every single week I'd go into the office. I'd say, how's China doing? Because you have to live up to that commitment. I'd say, how's China doing buying the product? Good, sir, good. They're doing good. And they were doing good because they knew I was watching. I don't think Biden is exactly watching. Do you? Does anybody think that Biden is? Let's check it. I don't think so. And it's a shame. And that number is way lower than it's supposed to be. So the first thing I'd do is I would probably, my first call, I'm going to call up President Xi. I'm going to say, you have to honor the deal you made. We made a deal. You'd buy $50 billion worth of American farm product, and I guarantee you he will buy it, 100%. He will buy it. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you have to give the death penalty to your fentanyl dealers who are sending fentanyl. You know, in China, they give the death penalty. They don't have a drug problem because they give the death penalty. But I'm going to say, second thing, and this affects you also, it affects everybody. We're losing hundreds of thousands of people a year. Comes through the southern border, now the weakest border in history. It was the best border we ever had when I was there. We built hundreds of miles of wall and everything else, and it was the best border. Now it's the weakest. I had a handshake deal with him. It was going to happen very quickly, and then this side didn't do anything about it. He said, and he suggested to me, anybody sends fentanyl to the United States, it's the death penalty. They get the maximum penalty. They would have done it, and then we had an election that didn't exactly work out too good, and it was a disgrace, frankly. And that deal went, and a lot of other bad things happened, like Russia attacking Ukraine, October 7th, inflation. A lot of bad things happened. The horrible way we got out of Afghanistan. So many things happened that wouldn't have happened, but it did nevertheless. But as to the farmers, we have a deal in place that China is supposed to buy $50 billion worth of our product, and they are not living up to it, and they were living up to it. And every farmer I spoke to a lot of them recently in Iowa, and they're having the same problem. They're not doing well. They're not doing well. They were doing great during the Trump administration. I think you would say that. Were you all? I hope you. This is always dangerous to do, but I hope you'd say you were doing well, because you're not doing now. I'm hearing it from farmers all over the place, and one of the big reasons is they haven't enforced the deal with China. And that deal was really a penalty deal to China, because they took advantage of you for 25 years, and it was like a penalty. And, Biden and Harris, they're never going to enforce anything. That group is a disaster. It's a disaster for our country in so many ways, but certainly the farmers are one of those ways.